Alright folks, we have come back. Let's start case 19 in the new district, Sinner's End. Sinners and Saints.
Both a big name in the world of college basketball.
Yeah, former Bowie Invitational Chairman Wayne Duke. He was 88 years old.
Well, Matthew, the road exhibition sure ended with a bang. You found out corruptions in the Concordian Police Department went as high as the chief inspector. Eleanor Halstead not only accepted bribes from inventor Stanley Sparkler's exosuit to win top prize at the exhibition, but we also know she was in the pocket of a nefarious Irish gang leader who goes by the name of Mad Dog. Matthew, if we want to take on Mad Dog and their Irish gang, we must start here in Sinner's End, their stronghold. And I propose we begin our quest by heading to Paddywhack's, the Irish pub on the district's main street. A smelly dive it may be, but I do frequent the establishment, and am on friendly terms with Dermot, the pub landlord. I'm sure he'll be happy to help us. Matthew, we must keep our wits about us as we enter the murkiest and seediest district of Concordia. How's the form, Dermot? Still not serving absent? Whoa, Matty, you got here fast! What the devil are you talking about, Dermot? You're not here about the murder? A dead body got dumped in the street behind me pub a short while ago. A dead body? Senior Trooper Matthew and I shall head to the street outside and take a look right away. Okay. Whoops.
To apply, visit any branch or call 643 Bank. Whatever your milestones, let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank, it all starts with yes.
Oops.
It takes an entire community to
And my fingers cover it all. Briefly, but that's okay.
working together to produce and prepare precious ingredients.
Holy God.
So when Hawaii's food service industry thrives, it's good for all of us. Hawaii Restaurant Association.
There we go.
Serve Hawaii.
It's the Chili's Hawaii NCAA March Bracket with your chance to win $1 million. Go to KITD.com, sign up, and make your picks on March 12th. Compete against KITD sports anchors Brandy Ida and Mike Jerry. Create your own group and compete with your friends and coworkers. The Chili's Hawaii NCAA March Bracket. 3 games to enter, 3 chances to win. Play a PlayStation 4 Pro and Chili's.
Matthew Dermot was right. This man's dead. He's been beaten to a pulp. Dermot mentioned the body was dumped here, which means this man was killed somewhere else. That seems right. Even in this part of town, it'd be hard to beat a man to death without attracting a crowd. Cripes! I just realized I know this lad. It's Barnaby Wilson, the resident physician in Sinner's End. So you knew the victim. In that case, Dermot, we'll need to have another word with you shortly. Please wait for us inside the pub. You're right, Matthew. One of the victim's forearms has been branded with a shamrock. This has the touch of Mad Dog's Irish gang all over it. Or does someone just want to make it look like the gang was responsible? Either way, that ornate box you found right by the body is definitely worth looking into. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll be able to crack the code. Matthew, it didn't take us long to stumble upon a murder in Sinner's End. This could be our first lead towards exposing the dastardly Irish gang.
Not as much this week, but we're close to it, and we're going to be close to record temperatures again tomorrow with those
18 hours, now it's time for me to get some stars, so sit tight. Alright, I have 9 stars. Let's talk to Dermot about the murder. I can't believe poor Dr. Wilson's dead. Dermot, can you think of anyone who'd have wanted to kill him? Can't say I ever heard any grumblings about the good doctor. And what about the Irish gang that operates around these parts? Could they have had something to do with it? Well, it ain't a secret that the gang runs all manner of underground activities in Sinner's End, but that's all I know. But then again, I keep myself to myself. As long as there's no one causing any trouble in me pub, I'm grand. Talking of which, you're welcome to look around if it'll help your investigation, Senior Trooper Matthew. Cheers, Dermot. We shall definitely want to examine your pub.
These are Samantha Savage's telephone numbers. Do you remember that environmental report that both of those? Her name was Helen Reese, and she called Samantha Savage 6 times. And she was killed.
Okay. Here we go.
So you made her a success and she runs
Matthew, that boxing lodge is housing a lacy lady's garter. How racy. There are some words written next to a lipstick kiss, but they're hard to read in their current state. Let's give them a good dusting.
When did you find out she was planning to change ways? What did you and Samantha talk?
Matthew, the message in the garter box says, Barnaby, my body belongs to you always, Marla de P. Marla de P? This has to be Marla de Paradis, one of the most celebrated cabaret dancers in Sinner's End. I've seen her show. It is rather eye-opening. It seems Marla knew our victim rather intimately. We had better break the sad news of Dr. Wilson's death to her. Mr. Paradis, we believe this garter belongs to... Give me that garter. Where did you find it? It was a private present for my fiancé's eyes only. Did your fiancé happen to be Dr. Barnaby Wilson? Yes. How did you... And why are you talking about him in the past tense? We're sorry to tell you that Dr. Wilson was murdered earlier this evening. My Barnaby murdered? My Barnaby dead? Who could have done such an atrocious thing? Oh, how am I going to live without my Barnaby? We are truly sorry for your loss, Mr. Paradis, but we may have some more questions for you later.
If you work for Helen, you're either a bitch or a moron.
Which are you?
Both at this point.
I'm surprised people put up.
I've been there 7 months and I'm the senior staff member. She's a brilliant editor, though. I'm learning a lot. It's just a tough education. Is Helen gonna know I talked to you? She got my head on a pike.
This is strictly between us.
She was pretty pissed off about Samantha jumping into Canal. It wasn't anything I hadn't seen before.
So what happened later?
It was the end of the day. She was in her office and she just went ballistic. I have never heard her that angry.
All right.
She said, well,
No, you could hear her all the way down the hall cursing Samantha out.
Is there anyone with her in her office?
No,
Did you get a phone call?
not the one with me. She got that on her cell or an email.
Oh,
Lieutenant Van Buren, she wants us back. Thank you very much.
This is Detective Pete Miller, Street Crime.
Big fun.
Joe Fontana.
You may have something on your case.
oh man, was that unfortunate.
What did you see? We're gonna get a deal for this.
We'll make sure the DA knows we helped this out.
Matthew, if you think the pile of rubbish on this waiter's tray is worth rummaging through, please go ahead. And good idea. Let's pass these torn up pieces of paper back together to see what secrets they hold. Ooh, a branding iron. Matthew, is that a branding iron you found hidden in the waiter's tray? This must have been the implement the killer used to brand the victim. Let's send this vile object to Viola and see if it holds any useful evidence. Matthew, these torn pieces of paper were a flyer advertising our victim's medical services. And look, it says here that he was assaulted by a nurse. Assisted by a nurse. But their name's been obscured by a dark stain that smells very much like stout. Nevertheless, Matthew, I'm sure you'll have no trouble deciphering the missing words. Oh man, J. Hatchet. So J. Hatchet is the name of the nurse who was helping Dr. Wilson. We had better deliver the tragic news of her employer's demise to Nurse Hatchet. Jemima Hatchet. If you folks are here for medical advice, the doctor won't be in till tomorrow morning. Nurse Hatchet, sadly, Dr. Wilson won't be coming back ever again. We regret to inform you that he has been brutally murdered. You jest, Senior Trooper Matthew. Why would anyone want to kill that wonderful man? I'm afraid we are not in the habit of joking about such matters. What can you tell us about Dr. Wilson? Oh, you couldn't have met a more selfless man. He eschewed his aristocratic status to come and help the poor souls of Sinners End. That altruistic doctor cared nothing for wealth or prestige. He spent his own money helping all manner of people. Prostitutes, gamblers, alcoholics, even the odd gangster. And now the guardian angel of Sinners End has been taken away from us. Oh, what a cruel, cruel world we live in. Alright, that's going to do. Let these two run their courses. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Okay, guys, we have returned. Let's get the results of the branding iron first. Matthew, as the great bard once said, "There's many a man hath more hair than wit." While probably true, what do Shakespeare's words have to do with the shamrock branding iron the killer used on the victim? Well, my dear Maddie, I found traces of a strange substance on the iron's handle, and my test revealed it to come from the root of the Iris pallida flower. You see, powder derived from iris roots is a veritable godsend for those wanting to keep greasy hair at bay. You will therefore find that your killer uses hair powder as part of their daily toilette, and they must have applied some just before putting their grubby hands on the branding iron. Well, Matthew, more than wit or not, our murderer will have more than just oily locks to contend with once we arrest them. I got a lot more energy. Some that I didn't even know. Okay. A lot more cards, too.
Good director on it.
I'll allow it.
Michelle, I know it took a lot for you to come up here and testify today. Just now, did you
And the
feel
autopsy.
Mr. O'Dwyer was...
Do you see the little green men with ginger beards, Matthew? Do you? Everything alright, Dick? Everything's just spiffing. A fella sold me some shamrocks and told me if I smoked them, I'd see leprechauns. And now I can count at least 8 scurrying about. Oh dear. My mother always warned me about shamrock smokies. Now, Dick, think you'll be able to focus on our victim for just a moment? Yes, hang on. Here be Viola's special coffee mixings. Very strong. Oh, the leprechauns have finally gone. Phew! That was quite something, Matthew. Now back to our poor doctor. You don't need me to tell you that he was brutally beaten to death. The ligature marks on his wrists indicate that he was tied up and suspended like a punching bag, leaving him at the killer's mercy. Suspended? So that definitely means he wasn't killed on the street. He must have been murdered somewhere indoors. His wounds also show that our perpetrator used a spiky metal implement to more speedily dispatch our victim to his grave. What's more, the victim's injuries indicate that the killer knew exactly where to hit to cause maximum damage, which leads me to conclude that our murderer knows how to fight.
Michelle.
Matthew, I'd like to see the killer try to punch their way through the bars of their jail cell once we catch them.
O'Dwyer kept going at you until you said what he wanted you to say. But Mr. Ellis is going to make sure that the jury saw that for what it was. You say so.
Matthew, we were greeted with a dead body almost immediately upon arriving into Sinner's End. Something tells me this is a sign of things to come. From all that we've heard, the victim was a veritable saint. So why did someone beat him to death? Dermot, the pub landlord, was not able to shed any light on Wilson's brutal murder. And the victim's fiancé and colleagues seemed genuinely upset at his demise. You're right, if this was the work of Mad Dog and their Irish gang, then the Shamrock brand could mean they wanted to make an example of him. And yet it could also be the work of someone who wanted to get rid of the doctor and have the blame fall on the gang. For now, I am completely baffled. What on earth is that?
On the charge of rape in the first degree,
Uh-oh.
find the defendant, Derek Thompson, not guilty.
State of New York, thanks you for your service. Derek
Matthew, you seem to have stepped on some sort of trap door. Where does it lead? Wow. Alright, I'll see you guys for chapter 2. Okay, folks, we have returned. Let's start chapter 2 of Sinners and Saints. Matthew, I don't know about you, but so far, I am stumped as to why anyone would want to kill the altruistic Dr. Wilson. His murder reeks of Mad Dog, but equally, we cannot discount someone trying to frame the Irish gang to avoid being incriminated themselves.
Tell me, how many feet do you see?
This case
We're twins. We're here to see Blanche.
Matthew, what on earth is that? You seem to have stepped on something that unlocked a hidden trap door. Let us see where it leads, and keep your pistol cocked at all times.
You didn't tell me your roommate was Grandma Moses.
How would you like me to fix your face so the two of you don't look like twins anymore?
Sophia, this is Dorothy Miller. Dorothy's the roommate who'll be joining us tonight.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I kept you waiting.
Dorothy, this is Rob, and this is his brother Bob.
I swear I have seen you somewhere before. Oh, there you are. That's a joke. You see, Blanche didn't mention that you were twins.
Oh, I never met Bob until tonight.
Blanche, I told you we were exactly alike.
Alright.
Dorothy, you're going to be thanking me for years to come.
At least we won't argue over who has the cuter dick. Oh, Stanley.
Dorothy, I need to talk to you.
Oh, Stan is her ex-husband, biggest loser you'll ever see. Good evening, Stan.
Broken wood.
I'm going out, Stanley. We'll have to talk some other time. And in future, I really would appreciate some notice before you drop by. Let's say 1 to 6 months.
Dorothy, I have a stack of papers that we need to go over before the surgery.
Surgery?
Finally going ahead with that hip transplant?
Sophia, not everybody knows this isn't real.
Oh, please. Stevie Wonder could tell it's a roll.
Believe me, I wish it were only a hair transplant. So, look, I don't want to ruin your evening. You go out, have fun. I'll still be here when you come back, God willing.
No, we have tickets to see Merv Griffin in the Crucible. I'll risk it. Come on, let's go.
Sweet mother of... Is that a boxing arena? Matthew, I believe we stumbled upon an underground fight club.
Stan,
Who'd have imagined a place like this existed under Paddywhacks?
life?
Dermot never told me, that's for sure.
To be talking at home.
But you don't think Dermot played a part in keeping the Fight Club secret, do you?
Take my place with Veronica.
No, I refuse to believe he was involved until we have some proof.
I could, but I'm going to keep you for the roof, so.
And on that note, I see you've already found some clues. Matthew, that rope attached to a hook has blood all over it. You're right, Dick said that the victim was suspended from the ceiling. Matthew, could this rope be what the killer used? Let's collect a blood sample.
Maybe I should drive a Netmobile. Maybe she should drive a Nitwitmobile.
And that's a handwritten note on one of Dr. Wilson's prescription papers. The pencil words have almost completely faded, but I'm sure you'll easily be able to clarify them.
Blanche, I'm really sorry, but I think I have to stay and talk to
And I
Stan.
can't figure out what those broken bits of wood once were, but if you want to reassemble them, be my guest.
Strangely provocative about this evening.
Matthew, it's looking likely that our victim was murdered in this fight club before being dumped outside. Finding this underground room may be just the breakthrough we needed.
And what was it you wanted to see me about?
Not now, Dorothy. Finish your thought, Blanche.
Into the kitchen, Stanley.
Well, I'll just send one of them home. Only which one? You know, Sophia, I used to have this recurring dream about twins. They always killed each other over me. Maybe I'll drive.
You know, Blanche, I have a recurring dream. John Cameron Swayze straps a Timex to my chin and tosses me across an icy pond. I looked it up in a book of symbols, but it wasn't there. That's
Alright.
it, I'm done. What do you want me to do? Bring down the curtain?
It's the Spring Renovation Sweepstakes. Hallmark Channel and Lumber Liquidators want to give you the ultimate home and backyard
8
renovation.
energy.
Win $15,000 to use on your home and
Matthew, let's send this sample of blood you extracted from the rope and hook to Viola right away.
package, including the ultimate spring garden. Go to hallmarkchannel.com to enter now through April 28th. Brought to you by Lumber Liquidators.
12 hours. Get the results tomorrow morning.
When I brought Jake home, I wanted him to eat healthy, so I feed Jake Purina Cat Chow Naturals Indoor, a nutritious formula with no artificial flavors, made specifically for indoor cats. Purina Cat Chow, nutrition to build better lives.
I want the most out of my health and life, so I trust Nature Made vitamins. Because they were the first to be verified by USP for quality and purity standards. And because I recommend them as a pharmacist.
Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand.
Warning note. The victim's note we found in the Fight Club says, Dermot, you must be aware of the activities taking place below your pub. If you do not alert the authorities, I shall. So Dr. Wilson was threatening to expose the Fight Club, and his note implies that Dermot was involved. Matthew, Dermot has certainly been hiding things from us. All this after I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. My so-called friend had better have a good explanation for all of his lies.
Eating this meal has the same effect on your blood sugar as eating over 7 teaspoons of sugar. We call this the hidden sugar effect. But this delicious Atkins bar, the effect is about this much sugar. You'll love it, and your body will too. Atkins, go to hiddensugar.com.
Pain used to shut me down in pickup games. But with odor-free Blue Emu continuous pain relief spray, I can box out.
Dermot, I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt, but we now know you're running an underground fight club.
Works fast, and you won't stink.
Now look here, Senior Trooper Matthew. You're barking up the wrong tree.
So
I simply rent the place out. What they do down there don't concern me.
Just popped up one day. I was like, oh.
That's not what Dr. Wilson thought. We know he threatened to expose you in the Fight Club.
And then to add on to that, how wonderful the house is.
That doctor did have some strange ideas about me, to be sure, but I was only going to talk to him about it all civilized-like. A likely story. For all we know, you're in with the Irish gang and silenced Dr. Wilson on their behalf. You know me, Maddie. I'm a gentle soul. I may have boxed a few good fellas in my time. It's the only way to run a pub. But how can you think I'd ever join a gang? Well, Dermot, I clearly don't know you as well as I thought. And if you're guilty of murder, I certainly won't be your shoulder to cry on.
Hey, babe, don't worry. I'm a survivor. Everything's cool. The cat who's gonna cut me is Primo.
I said, pull yourself together, not talk like Sammy Davis Jr.
I only meant that the operation is a very common procedure. Everything's going to turn out just fine. On the other hand, they are going to crack open my chest and slice my heart like the lox platter at Wolfie's.
Good, someone's gone for lox and get some bagels and a sword.
Stanley's having bypass surgery on Friday.
So I'm going to ask him to walk. He can take the cars. And Stan.
Alright. Matthew, the wooden sign says, this month's winner, Kev O'Connell. Kev must be a fighter at this very club. Matthew, let's have a word with him.
Ma, this is serious surgery.
Surgery is the easy part. The tough part is after. Who's going to take care of you?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
Well, think about it. You live alone and no one likes you.
Talk to Kev about the Fight Club. What's the crake, mate? How's your left hook? Fancy a round in the ring? Mr. O'Connell, we're not...
It's your fault he's fat.
Just because you're small doesn't mean you ain't a good fighter. Know your cabaret girl, Marla? She's wee as a leprechaun, and I've seen her punch unruly punters like the best of them. Well, speaking of fighting, what can you tell us about the underground fight club below Paddywhacks? We know you fought there. Underground fight club? That sounds familiar. Yes, I must have fought there. I fought everywhere. Not so good with the memory, me. Me mom always said I had the brawn, but not so much the brains. Brawn, but not so much the brains. Well, do you remember meeting Dr. Barnaby Wilson? He was found murdered a short while ago. Doctor who? I never needed no doctors. Like, so I don't know him. I'm the best fighter in Concordia. Me.
Here, I brought you some clean towels.
Babe, you are a remarkable woman.
I said towels, not a kidney.
She is trying so hard to be brave.
She's very convincing.
Well, you have a wonderful
3.
night, Stan. We just wanted to stop by and shoot in case we don't see you again.
And I'll let the blood run its course. And for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Under Unlimited Energy Happy Hour. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to speed this up. Matthew, your hunch was well founded. The traces of blood you collected from the rope and hook do indeed belong to the victim. So this confirms that Dr. Wilson was murdered in the Fight Club. Correct, but his blood also held another, rather more delicious secret. You see, I noticed a foreign residue in the blood, which I identified as single malt whiskey. Its peaty notes place its origin in Connemara, Ireland. I can therefore surmise that your killer is partial to a dram or 3 of Connemara whiskey. Matthew, our murderer has good taste in their tipple. I'll give them that. And while we're on the subject, let's take another look around Paddywhacks. We know the murderer was there, so there must be more clues to find. And I put 5 in there because I was working on another case in Elite Mode. That's Good Cop, Dead Cop. There we go. Well, I didn't do it, unfortunately. Oh, looks like Ace has already gotten underway with this crime scene. Matthew, you found a doctor's bag bearing the victim's initials. We had better take a look inside. And isn't that Dr. Wilson dressed in the nines in this photo? But who is this older man he's with? Let's see if we can find him in our registry. Still got the 9. Frederick Wilson. The older gentleman in this photo is one Lord Frederick Wilson, and he happens to be our victim's father. We had better inform Lord Wilson of his son's tragic demise. Lord Wilson, we regret to inform you that if you're here to tell me about my poor son, you're too late. The sad news has already been imparted to me, which is why I have come to this godforsaken place. I do hope you're doing all you can to find my son's killer, officers. He was the heir to my most illustrious family, after all. It is rather unusual for a man of such social standing to move to sinner's end. Oh, my Barnaby was always so idealistic. He could have been the darling of society back home, but all he ever wanted to do was help the poor. I supported my son in his altruistic ventures, but now I wish I had stopped him. If I had, maybe my poor boy would still be alive. Now I shall take my lead to persuade the bartender to share his private stash of 34-year-old Connemara whiskey. I hope it will ease my suffering. Victim's documents. Matthew, those papers you found in Dr. Wilson's bag seem to be legal documents of some description. I'm afraid legalese and I go together worse than a poorly mixed cocktail, so Evie will be our safest bet at analyzing this information. $12. I'll get the results tomorrow. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've come back. Let's get the results of the legal documents from Evie. Matthew, come join us. We're playing Guess the Author. I didn't realize you two were such friends. I don't suppose it's a drinking game. Much more thrilling than that. I have all these original manuscripts of classic literature, and Diego's been guessing who wrote them based on the handwriting. This writer is a beardy, bespectacled man. He must be Wilkie Collins. Woman, bird-like face, eldest sister, it's Charlotte Bronte. As fascinating as that sounds, I'm afraid Matthew and I have no time for playing games today. In that case, I shall leave you to your work, although it breaks my heart to depart when you're looking so ravishing, Maddie. Now that he's gone, Evie, what can you tell us about those documents you found in the victim's bag? Matthew, these papers are the victim's last will and testament. And he left all his worldly possessions to his fiancée, Marla de Paradis. Now that's what you call true love. How interesting. Matthew, I wonder if Marla knew she was set to inherit a small fortune. Agreed, we should pay her another visit. Inheriting the victim's will. Victim's fortune.
Mr. Paradis, did you know Dr. Wilson let you everything in his will? Yes, wasn't he just the sweetest? Mind you, Barnaby spent his money so freely that I don't think he'd have had much left to give me anyway. He'd even pay for his nurse's hair powder, although I was willing to lend her my own. Surely it frustrated you that Dr. Wilson was frittering away your inheritance. Not at all, Senior Trooper Matthew. After all, his generosity also meant he bought me Connemara whiskey whenever I wanted. Oh, my Barnaby, what I wouldn't give up to bring him back to life. Matthew, I fear our investigation is bringing up more questions than answers. We discovered an underground fight club and learned that our victim knew about it too and was threatening to expose it. Stopping him from doing so would give both my supposed friend Dermot and maybe even Kev, the professional fighter, a motive for murder. And what about Wilson's fiancée Marla, who stood to lose more and more of her inheritance the longer our altruistic victim remained alive? So far, there is no indication whether or not this murder is related to Mad Dog's Irish gang, but... Matthew, we need your help. Come quick. Bontemps is about to get himself killed. Holy God! Bontemps, what the hell are you doing? We'll find out in Chapter 3. See you then. Okay, folks, I've come back, and having just finished Case 6 in Grimsboro in Elite Mode, let's start Chapter 3 of Sinners and Saints. Matthew, our investigation into the murder of Dr. Wilson has brought up more conundrums than quiz night at Paddywhack's. Speaking of the pub, we found a secret fight club hidden under it, and it seems likely the victim was killed there. This throws suspicion on my erstwhile chum, Dermot, but who knows who really... Matthew, come quick, we're all in a tiz. What's the matter, Evie? Bontemps has gotten into a brawl outside Paddywhack's and is about to get himself killed. What? Matthew, we need to stop him immediately. You're in for it now, you lily-livered posho. I'm gonna squash your head in. Who are you calling lily-livered? Come here and I shall show you how a gentleman fights. No one will be showing anyone anything. Stop right this minute. This is not your concern, Matthew. A Bontemps never refuses a duel. Stop your chatter, I'll punch your... Oh, everything's spinning. Ugh. Arise and fight, good sir. Bontemps, that is enough. What the devil has gotten into you? I was simply defending my honor. I'd been at the pub looking for clues when this drunken chap accosted me. He had taken offense at my sitting on his bar stool. Well, it's lucky for you he's collapsed, so let him be and kindly return to the airship. Matthew, I cannot believe Bontemps and his notions of honor. I suppose now we're here, we may as well take another look around the street. I would never have picked Bontemps to start fights with anyone. But what he has to say about honor is totally irrelevant, in my opinion. If someone's willing to jerk my chain, then I'll handle that personally.
This postcard says, trying in vain to stop Wilson. Can you help? Matthew, it looks like someone was trying to interfere with our victim. What exactly did they mean by stop? There's no discernible name or address, but the dark stain on the card might reveal something about the sender. Let's try and collect a sample. And the label on this medicine bottle shows it was prescribed by our victim, but the patient's information is written in code. Matthew, I am certain you can decipher the code on the bottle. We cannot allow our momentum to wane for even a second if we're to solve this case. Seven. Matthew, I haven't a clue what this reddish-brown substance you found on the postcard could be. Let's put it under the microscope. Iodine. Matthew, the microscope revealed the red-brown stain on the postcard to be iodine. Iodine? Isn't that what nurses use to clean wounds? And you're right, we did make the acquaintance of one Nurse Hatchet this evening. But if Hatchet wrote this postcard, then it was she who wanted to stop Dr. Wilson. She had better explain herself. About her plans to stop the victim? Nurse Hatchet, we know you wrote this postcard. Why did you want to stop Dr. Wilson, and what exactly did you want to stop him doing? Oh, you found that silly old card, Senior Trooper Matthew. Alright, yes, it used to infuriate me that the doctor was always wasting his time healing prostitutes, gamblers, and alcoholics. I tried to make him understand, but to no avail. Dr. Wilson actually seemed to like it here amongst the dregs of society. A horrid place where I had to rely on my fists to survive. Dr. Wilson chose to help these sinners, but sinners shouldn't be helped. They should be punished. I must say, for a health worker, you don't have much charity in you. And whose help are you seeking to stop Dr. Wilson looking after these so-called sinners? Wilson's father, of course. He was even more determined than I to stop his bleeding heart's son. Oh yes? In that case, we'll have to have a word with Lord Wilson immediately. But we'll still be keeping a close eye on you, Nurse Hatchet. Personally, I'm glad Jemima Hatchet isn't into pancakes. As you know, Aunt Jemima. Lord Wilson, you told us you were proud of your son's altruistic endeavors. So why were you colluding with Nurse Hatchet to stop him? Senior Trooper Matthew, how on earth did you find out about that? But look here, that boy was getting out of control. He was sullying our name. His actions made my family the laughingstock of society, and let's not even talk about his sister's marriage prospects. Your son's actions, saving people's lives, that's hardly a... Barnaby was spending all his money on scoundrels and prostitutes, and I heard he even wanted to marry one of those scarlet women. Well, Lord Wilson, if you cared about your family's reputation more than your son's life, Senior Trooper Matthew will find out about it very soon. Okay. Oh, goodness. (91991). One 649 Matthew, this set of numbers could help us identify the patient to whom Dr. Wilson prescribed that medicine bottle you found. Let's send them to Evie. This is 9 hours, and I can get the results tonight. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've come back. Let's get the results of the patient's reference. Evie, did you manage to find out to whom our victim prescribed this medicine bottle? Well, Matthew, according to the laws of doctor-patient confidentiality, these numbers are usually a closely guarded secret. But that journalist, Catherine Wolfe, managed to call in a favor for me. Catherine Wolfe, eh? You two seem to be getting along better since that time you almost killed her for snooping around your library. Well, yes, quite. Purely for professional reasons, of course. Anyway, Catherine found out our victim prescribed this medication to one Kev O'Connell. Kev O'Connell? But he told us he didn't know the doctor, and that he never needed his help. Agreed, Matthew. We need to speak to the fighter right away.
Years ago as a way to educate the public, to give kids an experience they can't get anywhere else. They get to learn about the life cycle of the butterflies, the different species found in Hawaii, and even get to take selfies with the beautiful creatures.
Hello, what's your name again? Care to join me for a glass of the best whiskey in town? It's called Connemara? That's the ticket. Mr. O'Connell, we are not on a social visit. You told us you never needed Dr. Wilson's help. So why do we find a bottle of medicine he prescribed to you?
If you'd like to see the exhibit for yourself, it'll be open until April 23rd.
Well, I told you my memory's not so good. I even forgot to get my hair powder back from the barman, and now my noggin's all greasy. But yes, I remember now. I threw that bottle away. There ain't no place for that healing stuff when you're the best fighter in Concordia. To be sure, that doc kept trying to get me to stop fighting, saying the next blow to the head could be the end of me. But what did a weedy little fellow like him know about fighting? Fighting's my life. Well, we had better not learn that you had anything to do with that weedy little fella ending up dead. Matthew, we certainly got our pick of suspects for Dr. Wilson's murder, between the fighter angered by the victim's concern and the father and nurse who colluded against him. But apart from the shamrock branded on the victim's arm, we have yet to find any clear evidence of Mad Dog's Irish gang being involved. Good idea. Perhaps another visit to the fight club where our victim was killed may uncover some crucial clues. Alright.
When it's time to make a change, there's no one more trusted than Design Trends. Working with you to bring your vision to life. Using state-of-the-art technology to transform your home into a work of art.
Dr. Mask.
Be inspired. Seeing the project in the end. They say this is
Here we are. Oh, and I still got the first star. Lucky me. Matthew, what made you pick up this bizarre-looking mask? Oh, you say it's a mask doctors wear to prevent catching diseases from their patients? Then I agree, it must have belonged to our victim. The strange green powder all over the mask might lead us closer to the doctor's killer. Let's scoop it up. Matthew, those brass knuckles you also found had blood all over them. And look at those sharp spikes. You're right, Dick did mention that the killer used a spiked metal object to beat the victim to death. Those brass knuckles must be our murder weapon. Let's collect a sample of those particles stuck to the handle. We're closing in on our killer, Matthew, I'm sure of it. This will be the second one I've come across. Alright. Let's send these particles from the murder weapon to Viola right away and see if they give us any insight into our murderer.
This year's team is off to its best start in a decade. Next week, they'll enter Big West Play with a winning record for the first time ever. With games like tonight,
15 hours. Dr. Mask now. Got 9. Matthew, Viola is sure to shed some light on the green powder you picked up from the doctor's mask. Is this 9 hours? Yes, it is. And I will see you guys when both of these are done. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright, folks, we have come back. Let's get the results of the particles and put some killer behind bars. Viola, what can you tell us about the particles we found on the murder weapon? Matthew, you got me veritably gripped with scientific fervor. You see, what you brought me today allowed me to give Charlie's magnificent DNA machine its inaugural spin. How thrilling. Did it work? Better than I dreamed. You see, the particles you sent me are tiny pieces of human skin, and my DNA testing revealed that the owner of these epidermal flakes has green eyes. Working out the color of someone's eyes just from skin particles? Charlie's a genius to have come up with such a groundbreaking contraption. Matthew, this green-eyed person must be our killer, given that we found their skin on the murder weapon handle. Their eyes may be a lucky Irish green, but our murderer won't be feeling too fortunate when we catch them, Matthew.
What are you supposed to do? Drive 3/4 of a car? Now, if you had Liberty Mutual in the car replacement, you'd get your whole car back. I guess they don't want you driving around with 3 wheels.
Another former energy is coming my way. Matthew, this viridescent powder you found on the victim's doctor mask is supremely interesting. Do tell us more, Viola. Its main ingredient is green tea, but it's been spiked with a good dose of devil's cherry and mixed with water, making it the perfect tincture to soothe a sore tattoo. Well, our victim did not have any skin adornments, so this powder must have been left behind by the tattooed killer. Matthew, the only tattoo our killer will be inking from now on is their prisoner number.
Use your results to improve and track your lifestyle and discover what your DNA reveals about your age. Just $89.
Matthew, it's time to arrest Dr. Wilson's sadistic killer and learn once and for all whether the Irish gang was involved in his murder.
Gorilla Glue. Of course.
Gorilla Glue bonds wood, stone, metal, ceramic, and more. Gorilla Glue for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
I was thinking super glue brush.
I like the nozzle.
Brush.
Nozzle.
So
nozzle.
It's not Dermot McMurphy.
Brush and nozzle. Of course. Brush for edge-to-edge coverage and nozzle for precise application, all in one, for the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
It is not. It is not Marla DeParadis. That's some Supercross sound in the background, but please do not comment about that. It is not Jemima Hatchett. It's Kev O'Connell, looks like. Pretty sure. Yes. Kev O'Connell, we're placing you under arrest for the murder of Dr. Barnaby Wilson. Senior Trooper Matthew, don't blame me just because I'm the best fighter in Concordia. We know it was you. We found your tattoo powder on the victim's doctor meal. On the victim's doctor mask, I should say. I ain't the only one at Sinner's End with tattoos, Senior Trooper Matthew. And yet your hair powder ended up on the Shamrock branding iron that you used to viciously mark your victim. I told you I don't have a good memory. I leave me hair powdered lying around everywhere. It must have ended up on the iron by mistake. It's too late for your lies. We also found your skin cells on the brass knuckles you used to viciously beat Dr. Wilson to death. Ah, I thought I had hidden that duster nice and good like. Alright, Senior Trooper Matthew, I admit it. I killed Dr. Wilson. Are you part of Mad Dog's Irish gang? Is that why you did it? Oh, you are brainy, Senior Trooper Matthew. You even worked out I was in the gang. Yes, Mad Dog likes me to knock people around for them, to be sure. But they didn't get me to kill the doctor. I murdered that little twerp because Marla was in love with him, not me. You are in love with Miss DeParadis? Yes, but she wouldn't look at me twice. All because of that weedy pipsqueak. If I couldn't stand it, I had to teach him a lesson. But if this is why you killed the doctor, why on earth did you brand him with a shamrock? It's what I do every time I beat someone up good. For luck, you know. You have very odd notions of luck, Mr. O'Connell. You're under arrest. It is my first trial as judge, Mr. O'Connell, and I have the dubious honor of having you as my first defendant. How do you plead to the murder of Dr. Barnaby Wilson? Not guilty, Your Honor. Love made me do it. Love? From what I can tell, you were driven by nothing more than selfish jealousy. And knowing Senior Trooper Matthew's inimitable sleuthing skills, I am sure the evidence against you is unquestionable. And I therefore sentence you to 20 years, hard labor in Stonewall Prison with no parole. 20 years? My math skills ain't so good, but I'm sure I'll be far too old for Marla to fancy me when I get out. So how did I do at judging, Matthew? Was I impressive, formidable, authoritative? All the above, and more, Judge Lawson. Criminals will be quaking in their boots as we speak. Ah, you are too kind, but equally I must commend you on a job well done in putting such an unhinged miscreant behind bars. I agree, Matthew. The powers that be are most certainly impressed with how you've helped the squad make its mark in Sinner's End. However, I hasten to remind you that your work in this gang-run territory has only just commenced. You may have already uncovered one Irish mobster, but if we hope to stop this nefarious mob once and for all, we must find out all we can about their alleged leader, Mad Dog. So it's Kev O'Connell, Frederick Wilson, he was cleared from the start, Dermot McMurphy, no green eyes, Marla DeParadis, no tattoo, Jemima Hatchett, cleared early. It was Kev O'Connell. I'll see you guys for By Hook or By Crook 1-6. Alright, we're back now. Let's start By Hook or By Crook 1-6. Matthew, I hear that while I was busy embarrassing myself in pub brawls, you successfully managed to catch Dr. Wilson's killer. We did indeed, and we also discovered that Kev O'Connell, our murderer, was in Mad Dog's gang, but that is all we've uncovered about the Irish mob so far. In that case, we must question this Kev and persuade him to tell us more about his nefarious employers. Matthew, I'd like to redeem myself by assisting you in his interrogation. That's a good idea, Bontemps, but I fear there is also the matter of my former friend Dermot, the pub landlord. If he knows more than he admitted about the fight club below his pub, then he can't be allowed to go unpunished, but we need some evidence on him. Matthew, if you're hunting for clues in that shady fight club at this time of night, you had better take me along. What do you say I join you there, once you and Bontemps have finished interrogating Kev? Ah, hell! Have you come to laugh at me behind bars, Senior Trooper Matthew? Mr. O'Connell, this is no laughing matter. We need you to tell us everything you know about Mad Dog and their Irish gang. What makes you think I'll tell you anything? I ain't that dumb. If only I were strong enough to break open these bars. Right now I'd be enjoying a nice glass of whiskey round the back of Paddywhacks. Good old Mad Dog will be joining me for a nightcap right about now. Ah, hell, I shouldn't have told you that, should I? On the contrary, thank you greatly for revealing that Mad Dog frequents the Cabaret Street at this hour. Senior Trooper Matthew and I shall go there immediately.
Yeah, we do. That's the 88 in there, short. Going after Cartwright and the 81 at Miller. He's moved his way into the screen as well. Cartwright over 93 has the final spot. These other two wanted from him. Hey, Ricky, what do you see in Josh Cartwright in this season is really crazy? I think it's just a little bit more comfortable, and he had a pretty good series last year, but he got his confidence from last year. It's really helping him. He's able to put it to him to this year as well, so that's good. And we got his exams on Friday, so it's great to see that he's here racing tonight for the main event.
Aha, metal pieces. Aha. Matthew, Mad Dog's nowhere in sight. I fear we've missed him. But those metal pieces you picked up might reveal something useful about the notorious gangster. Let's put them back together. There's 9. That silver hip flask you reconstructed looks expensive. And look at the shamrock inlaid with 3 Fs. How curious. Agreed, Matthew. This flask definitely has a touch of the Irish about it. We should dust it for fingerprints. All right.
Fuel detergent number 1. Fuel detergent number 2. Anti-adhesion compound. And rubber molecules. Get better gas mileage with Synergy. Exxon. Energy lives here.
Matthew, unfortunately the fingerprints you found on the silver hip flask are far too smudged for us to identify their owner. But I'm certain Evie will be able to clean them up and tell us if they have anything to do with Mad Dog's Irish gang. I'm I'm sure she will. And in the meantime, how many hours is this? 9? Yes. Underground room.
Now on sale is a locally owned True Value.
As you can see, I was able to get a little lucky and have the mountain goat in my possession and be able to get some extra XP.
10 years of dominance. Countless motorways. And one legendary machine. The Suzuki RMZ 450 is the winningest bike in AMA motocross over the last 10 years. The undisputed reigning champion. A decade of dominance. More pro riders have won more races and more
Here we are.
championships on the Suzuki RMZ 450 than any other bike. Begin your podium chase at SuzukiCycles.com.
Matthew, I agree. This crate of gory Fight Club detritus is the perfect place to hide something incriminating. Let's rummage through it.
Like working out? Love saving money? Love great practice?
Ugh, Matthew, there were dead rodents in that Fight Club crate. Rasputin would have been horrified. Thank goodness I didn't bring him along.
Incredible savings. Shop now at SierraTradingPost.com.
But with that skull, this notebook you found in the crate is equally as macabre. It's replete with bets of some description, but my forte is weapons, not words. Evie will know how to decrypt this bizarre log. Six hours. And I will get the results later tonight. So for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Okay, folks, we have come back. Let's get the results with the smudged fingerprints first. Matthew, this beautiful hip flask is a fine example of Irish craftsmanship. But can you tell us if it's connected to the Irish gang running Sinner's End? No idea, but I can tell you that the fingerprints on the flask belong to the cabaret dancer, Marla de Paradis. I've heard she is quite the stunner. I cannot comment on that, Evie. In my humble opinion, nothing can surpass the beauty of a perfectly strategized game of chess. But Matthew, if this Miss de Paradis had the Irish hip flask in her possession, she may well be connected to Mad Dog's gang. Let us speak to the dancer at once. Senior Trooper Matthew, who is this gentleman you've brought with you? Isaac Bontemps, Isaac Bontemps, at your service, Mr. Paradis. You look... I never thought I'd... In any case, we found your hip flask and couldn't help noticing the Irish symbol on it. Yes, it was a present from the cabaret boss, Finley Flanagan. You might know him as Mad Dog. The shamrock is his gang's monogram. So Mad Dog's real name is Finley Flanagan. But Mr. Paradis, does this mean you are part of this contemptible mobster's gang? Of course not. I'm just doing my job. You see, the gang owns all the brothels and cabarets around Sinner's End. Well, to be precise, Finley runs the, shall we say, bodily pleasure side of the business. While his sister Fiona the Viper is responsible for the alcohol racket. Everyone around these parts knows that. So there are two gang leaders, a brother and sister. Thank you, Miss Paradis. Mr. Paradis, that is most helpful. But Senior Trooper Matthew, if you're looking for the Flanagans, please be careful. Folks only find them if they want to be found. Otherwise, they have a tendency of ending up dead. Please at least take this so you can blend better into the Sinner's End crowd. Well, thank you very much. And let's get the results of the notebook as well. Matthew, you really are delving into the deepest, darkest recesses of Concordia with the notebook you found in the Fight Club. Deepest, darkest recesses are my home turf pet. Go on, try and surprise me. The list of names and numbers in the notebook you found in the crate is what is known as a dead pool, and it is just as ominous as its name suggests. A dead pool is a macabre game of prediction where people bet on the date that they think an individual will die. Well, of course I know what a dead pool is, but are you saying that the Fight Club was running one? Yes, definitely. For example, here we can see that someone bet 120 shillings that a fighter called Timmy would die in June. Matthew, this means they routinely beat people to death at the Fight Club, making its operations as illegal as they come. The pub landlord must know they're playing Mortal Kombat down there. Let's confront him straight away. About the Fight Club's Deadpool? Dermot, are you still going to profess your innocence now that we know people are being killed under your pub? We've got proof of the Fight Club's Deadpool. Ah, what happens in the Fight Club stays in the Fight Club. What business is it of yours, Senior Trooper Matthew? And why are you always coming here accusing me of this and that? It ain't my fault if people want to fight to the death. It is your fault if you are making money off it. Well, you ain't got any proof of me doing any such thing, so get out of me, pub, and leave me in peace. Do not presume to tell Senior Trooper Matthew what to do. We shall keep searching your pub until we are fully satisfied. We'll be wanting some pub grub too, so you'd better serve us on the double. Last. Matthew, this jute bag is overflowing with money. Do you think it might be related to the Fight Club? Cleaning up the writing on that note may give us the answers we need. Now, I did finish a case in Elite Mode in Grimsboro, but I will be waiting until I am well over 100,000 again before I do another case. And that may be a few weeks. Wow. Well now, the note you found on the bag of money reads, Dermot, here's your cut of last month's Deadpool winnings. Keep up the good work. Matthew, this message definitely proves that Dermot is profiting from the deadly fights taking place under his pub. How sad for Maddie that her friend turned out to be a crook. In any case, the slippery barman won't be able to weasel his way out of jail this time. For his illegal Fight Club gains. Dermot, we found your bag of winnings from last month's Deadpool, proving you profited off the deaths in the Fight Club. You are therefore under arrest. Ah, I knew you'd be trouble, Senior Trooper Matthew, but Mad Dog said nothing would happen to me. What? Are you admitting to being in the Irish gang? Ah, no. Don't know nothing about them, except they promised they'd protect me if I hosted their Fight Club under me pub. Well, the Fight Club is closed, effective immediately, and will also be confiscating your winnings. And from now on, the only protection you'll be getting will be from the bars of your prison cell. Matthew, I have to confess that I am disappointed that my former friend Dermot ended up behind bars. I agree, it makes one more wary about trusting folks. But I am impressed by your breakthrough investigating the Irish gang. Now we know it's being headed by Finley and Fiona, the unsavory Flanagan siblings. I say we celebrate your success with a glass of champagne, or 3. Hold your horses, Matthew. The mayor's here and wants to speak with you right away. Well, this is unexpected. Matthew, I've heard all about the tremendous work you've conducted today, cleaning our streets of some truly heinous criminals. Yes, it's certainly given us something to celebrate. And I have even more good news for you. To curb all these nasty goings-on in pubs and the like, I decided to make the selling of alcohol a criminal offense. Come again, sir? Yes, yes. I am supremely confident that the prohibition of all alcoholic beverages will do wonders for Concordia's crime statistics and make your lives easier to boot. But sir... And we shall begin right here in Sinner's End by closing down the disgusting hovel they call Paddywhacks. Matthew, this is hard prohibition, and I am relying on you to fully enforce it. Here's to a safer, greater Concordia. I don't drink either. I don't drink, so that's good news to me. What tosh! How can the mayor possibly think that prohibition will put a stop to crime? People will simply find more underground and underhand ways to sell alcohol. I'd better start rationing my private stash in any case. More importantly, while we've certainly made some headway into uncovering the Flanagan siblings and their Irish gang, our fight against them has only just begun. Matthew, since we know that the brother Mad Dog Finley is in charge of the prostitution racket, our next port of call should be Scarlet Road, the brothel quarter of Sinner's End. Prepare yourself, Matthew. I have a feeling things are going to get steamy from here on in. Well, looks like I'm not going to get to share that coins. But let's see what pets we got. An ostrich, a black panther, and a guinea pig. Nah, I'm not really willing on any of them. Well, I gotta hurry this up. Is being released next Thursday? April 6th. I believe that is a Thursday. Yes. Okay. Five new ones. And another 5. 3 new ones. Boy, did I do a lot of good. Alright. That's gonna do, and I'll be collecting energy for the rest of this week. For now, this is Matthew. See you on April 6th.